Welcome back. This is the HBX Devastator that you've seen before, and I have determined a couple of things about it. You know how I initially mounted the dishes the wrong way so they stick out? You can see the pin goes in about that far. This one, I've inverted it back to the proper way to mount them with the dish on the inside. And the reason I did that is because it just does not perform well on the rocks when I tested it. And I am going to give up some ground track. I've already swapped this the left front, and you can see that it covers up most of this that you can see here on this side. It's pushed in several millimeters now. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the rest of the truck because it just did not perform well with the wide track. It left too much room between the front wheels and rear wheels that an obstacle could protrude up through here and contact the diff, and once the diff hits, it's done moving. So it was super easy to change these. All I did was take those 6 little screws out, and the dish actually stayed together, the 2 pieces. I just flipped it around and screwed it right back on. Once they've been seated for a while, apparently they stay together. So I'm going to give up quite a bit of track width here, but it's worth it just to get it tucked back in here instead of out here. It's about 4 millimeters different here, but on both sides it equals almost a centimeter, and I think it'll be back to a more capable rig once it's a little bit. This is something I forgot to add that I didn't put on my Rumble channel because I didn't remember at the time of the original video, but one of the things that I had disliked about the Devastator is that the wheel can actually turn and at full arc can contact this suspension link. However, one thing that I didn't take into consideration is the actual amount of travel that the servo is capable of causing. And you can see here that it is just barely enough to make contact with that link. I'll flip it upside down so it's easier to see. That's the side that's spaced out, that's touching, or that has a slight gap. And this is the side that has the tucked in wheel. And really, it's not a whole lot different. It just barely touches. So this side does not, but it's only by about 3 millimeters. So really the wide track doesn't much make any sense from a steering standpoint like I thought it did. So narrow it is. It just could not go anywhere with the wide track. I wanted it to. It looked cool, but it just wasn't good. I'm going to give up a little bit of side hilling, but I think I can get that back with some wheel weights. This is something that I didn't realize until I started flipping wheels around. If you're gonna rotate them so that the wheel track is closer together, you're flipping the wheel around in order to get that dish back in, so the dish is not inward, it's outward. You're gonna want to swap the wheels side to side, because just by rotating them around, obviously you're seeing here the tread is backwards, so rotate them in pairs. All right, I've got my wheels tucked back in, tread oriented in the proper direction with the V pointing forward, and front and back. Like I said before, if you're going to rotate these, swap this tire to this side or it makes the tread go backwards. You rotate them in pairs. And on my rock course, it just did not do well with the wide track. It got stuck everywhere. There's a few places that it was just too physically wide to fit, and it couldn't even make it up because the pathway is too narrow. So if you're going to run on inclines and things like that that are smooth rock faces that just happen to be very steep, you may want to keep the wide track. And in my case, I run as rough a terrain as I can possibly make it and still make it passable. So I need the diff clearance from the narrower ground track. That's all for today. The Devastator is almost end state. The only thing I would do to it differently is maybe add some wheel weights to the front. But it's a good truck. I don't drive it much just because I have my SCX 24s that I like so much better. They're a lot more capable rig than this. This is kind of a novelty. It's geared super low and it has four-wheel steering, and it's a really good four-wheel steering system. I just hope I never blow a servo out because it doesn't use a standard servo. It uses a 4-wire servo. I'm not sure why. It makes no sense to me. But I don't even know where I'd get the servos for that. I have to look around. But anyway, that's all I got for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you later.